Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Tuesday, February 9th, 2016. I am Dan Rubin, broadcasting live on tape from a snowy Gem City. I imagine it's also snowing a tad bit east of here. Duane, how is it in the capital city of Columbus, Ohio?
Yeah, it's snowing. It's really better than yesterday. Yesterday, I thought the apocalypse was upon us. We had snow, we had rain, then we had snow, then we had hail, and then we had sunlight. It was just crazy yesterday. But yeah, it's snowing. It's coming down pretty good here.
Yeah, I'm seeing outside my window here. I can entertain myself with, I don't know if it's entertaining, but cars sliding around. So definitely not hazardous. If you're out there, be safe on the roads. We are going to hit several topics today, one of which we want to put to bed. The Super Bowl has come and gone. There have been a lot of Ohio State players in Super Bowls before, but it did feel like this one, there was a little bit more than usual. How did you feel about the game in terms of Buckeye marketing?
Oh, I didn't think that, Ted Ginn was probably the one that stood out. He had a pretty good game. Didn't see anybody else flashing. Obviously, Norwell had a tough day. I mean, the Bronco pass rush was just, they were on Newton. They stayed in their lanes, which was huge, so it didn't give him opportunities to pop out and take off. Ted Ginn was the one that probably had the best game of the lot. And, it still was not. I really thought that Carolina could knock Denver out early and just coast. That wasn't the case. It just did not happen that way. The pass rush was that overwhelming, so the Buckeye guys just didn't have an opportunity to really show out.
Yeah. I'll also say this: if Bradley Roby stays injury-free, he is going to be a very rich man next time his contract comes up. He surely can cover in the slot and out in the wing. So,
he had as the year went on, Bradley Roby really started showing that the Broncos were right in taking him as early as they did. He's looking like he's going to be a big-time pro for a while.
Definitely helps for the Buckeyes. I believe in this as much as anybody, if not more, that when you're recruiting guys, who virtually every guy they recruit thinks he's only coming for 3 years, it helps to have guys prove in the pudding that you can get them into the league and into key spots early.
I think it's very important to put that out there. It just, when you're especially recruiting out-of-state athletes, the ones who are considering, leaving their home state, I think that being able to look in the NFL and see players at their position going to the NFL from your school, I think it's huge. And the Buckeyes have produced a lot of wide receivers. Are starting to see offensive linemen pop up around the league and coming from Ohio State. And it really does matter, Dan, when you're talking about out-of-state recruiting. Those guys, in-state kids grow up just loving your school. And, you can run into that with out-of-state kids. But I think more than anything, winning and, being on national television as a winning program and getting guys to the NFL is everything when it comes to getting out-of-state recruits.
No question. I'm sure people have seen the video from Media Day of Bradley Roby and Jeff Hyman being interviewed on the stage there in front of everyone, and their commentary about Ohio State. Keep in mind, Roby's from Georgia, Hyman from Florida, so that's good marketing. Speaking of marketing to the younger sect, we're probably going to spend much of the next 350-odd days talking about the class of 2017, and several names will be more prevalent than others as guys commit. Obviously, we'll move on to new and more exciting names, but today we're going to go over the class of 2017. Duane, you're 3 guys that are uncommitted. Bear in mind, Ohio State has 10 guys verbally committed to the class. Will they all stick? We will see. But of the guys who are not committed yet, Duane's 3 recruits or prospects that you think Ohio State should spend the most time focusing on?
Well, obviously, the first one that comes to mind, I actually had to do a mental mind check because he's so connected with Ohio State that I said, he might be a guy you could almost say is committed as Trevon Grimes. You have to get Trevon Grimes. The guy is just, if you have the time to watch one film of a 2017 football player, go out and look at Grimes' junior film. He is so dominant. He is physically so superior to anybody around him, and he's playing at a high level. It isn't like he's playing against Class A competition here in Ohio. He's playing against big-time football players, and he just physically dominates. He looks like an NFL receiver right now. He's got hands. They actually have him running routes. He has to run routes down there. It isn't just one fade right after another or 9 route. Absolutely phenomenally gifted football player. He's a game changer. He's a guy that can come in and play right away and impact your football program. Got to have Grimes.
Yep.
Another guy is Jeff Okudah, the safety from Texas. I really think that it's probably the weakest position on our roster is safety right now. We got Fuller this year, and I know there's a lot of talk about him playing cornerback, but we got athletes over there. We got football players. We've only got a couple of guys at safety. We've run in a couple other safeties, but I don't see them as guys who can have an immediate impact, and we definitely need that. We need to upgrade the safety position overall. We've got a couple of guys coming in already in 2017, but Okudah that's another film if you've got time to watch. He is really incredible athlete, physical. He's great in the air on the ball. He's got the size you want in a safety. He can come down in the box and attack the line of scrimmage. He can handle big receivers in the last third of the field. He's got the speed. He's got everything. He's just an outstanding football player at a need position, and we'll be able to offer him early playing time. He's a kid that and he says Ohio State leads, so you got to stay on top of him. And we still have the problem at defensive tackle. We need guys that, as far as we've got bodies, we may be all right. I have to keep bringing that up with Buckeye fans. We might be all right at defense tackle. We don't know. We've got Michael Hill. I thought Sprinkle had an outstanding Fiesta Bowl. And then we've got some young guys we haven't seen yet. So we might be just fine there, but you want to get the elite bodies in there, the elite talents. And to me, the one that stands out is Fred Hansard. Fred Hansard's film is very impressive. He's very quick for a big guy. First step, good explosive speed, finds the ball, and he can run people down. He's a really good-looking football player. He's a guy I'd really love to add to this class. I think that's the one thing that's missing. Put him in there with Cage, and we've got the 2 elite tackles that we've been wanting to get. We wanted to get this year. Those would be the 3 that would stand out to me. There are a few others. This class is better than the 2016 class. I would say with the exception of defensive tackle. I hope to see another defensive tackle class like this one, the 2016 class. But 2017, a lot of good football players, and a lot of them looking at Ohio State. And that's not a surprise, Dan, because really, when you talk about winning a national championship, where you see that surface in recruiting is usually that second year after you win a national championship. The guys, the first year after you win a national championship, they're kind of locked in. They've figured out the elite guys. They know where they're going. 2017, that's the class of the kids that were still young enough that they weren't being recruited heavily, and they were noticing what we were doing on the football field. So I'm looking forward to this class and 2018 to be better classes. Those are the guys that would get their heads turned by Ohio State winning the national championship.
And we can't forget they already have commitments from the number 1 tackle the offensive tackle in Josh Myers, a verbal commitment from the number 3 safety in Sean Wade, a verbal commitment from the number 2 Wade's a corner, number 2 safety, Isaiah Pryor, and Jake Moretti and Marcus Williamson. So, as Urban said, the top 10 guys, these 10 guys committed may not all stick, but there's some key parts already in the mix.
I look at Pryor as a guy. I just saw he really was impressive on film, but I just looked at him as a guy that's likely to be a walkout linebacker for us. He's a big kid. He's going to get bigger. I mean, we're only talking about a kid that's going to be a senior coming up. So he's got time to grow. I would not be surprised if he's going to be a walkout linebacker for us.
Yeah, and Pryor, of course, is at IMG Academy with Marcus Williamson, the Westerville native and corner committed to Ohio State, who's moved down there. Is a number 2 Ohio prospect behind Josh Myers. Dave Biddle has been doing a recurring feature for us, breaking down the position by position, who has a chance to start where. Obviously, there are 16 open positions, or 16 spots people are battling for, almost an unheard of number. I thought I had a real good sense of where the depth chart would fall. The curveball occurred during the end of the signing period here when the Buckeyes got a commitment from Long Island, New York Junior College offensive lineman Malcolm Pridgeon. I hope I pronounced that correctly. The 6'8" Pridgeon. Obviously, junior college has 3 years to play too, but most people don't recruit junior college players to sit. Ohio State certainly doesn't. They don't usually recruit junior college players at all. I thought it was going to be an offensive line of Isaiah Prince, Billy Price, Pat Elfline, and Jamarco Jones at right tackle, and then we could have discussed who's coming in at guard. Now it seems like there could be some even more competition with Pridgeon in the mix. How do you see it all breaking down?
I couldn't agree with you more. I think Pridgeon changes the offensive line, what's going to happen as far as what's going to happen with the tackles. The guy was, as I said when I did my review of the class, I believe he's a player that if he was just coming out of high school, he would be a top 10 tackle, probably top 5. Very impressive. Great feet, moves just so beautifully, athletic guy. He's got a punch in the run game, and he's got advanced skills as a pass blocker. He's long like you want in a tackle. Yeah, he definitely changes the tackle dimensions. You know, we thought they were pretty locked in. We thought it was going to be Prince and Jamarco Jones. And with Pridgeon in there, I don't believe we can say that definitely one of those two guys is going to be a tackle. You know, I know there was talk that Prince was locked in, and it was Jones was going to compete with Bowen to play on the right side. But I believe that you'll see Prince maybe playing the right side. Pridgeon is just going to be a little bit more advanced. He's a little bit older, and he's been on the field at a higher level of competition than high school, and that's the last time Prince was on the field. So you have to look at that. I believe that Pridgeon shakes things up on the offensive line. It may mean so much as to push tackles down the guard, and I love that move. I love getting more athletic at guard. Maybe the staff decides to go with, we're going with the best 5 that we've got. Obviously, Elfline at center, and 2 of those, the guys we're talking about here, Prince, Pridgeon, and Jones at tackles, and one of them slides down to guard because that's the one place that's unsure. We don't know with Elfline moving over who's stepping in there. I think it's going to be Knox. Could be Lease. We'll see. But I would not be surprised if the staff says, let's just go with these are the 3 best linemen we have. Let's put them all out there. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Certainly exciting, and if anything, with the season this far away, it's competition and more talent, and that's a good thing. We will rely on Urban to get everything worked out. Make sure you keep it locked in. Dave touched on the Sweet 16 position battle at right guard last night. Make sure you get on the site and read up all about that. There's stories on there now about what schools are off to a fast start in 2017 recruiting. Obviously, your Buckeyes are in the mix. You've got to look at what the Buckeyes might face tonight when they play when they host Northwestern in hoops as Modest boys try to get back on track. We thank Duane for joining us. Have a great day, Bucknutters.